we found a particular substring which can be reduced to produce the previous sentential form. So basically reduced means the right hand side of the production rule will be matched with the left hand side or replaced with the left hand side, so that every step we are essentially doing some kind of a reduction. And ultimately our goal is to get to the start node after the final reduction. Just a second. Hello. So we go to the starting symbol via a series of reductions. Now we have seen that the essential task is to find the handle. So handle means the substring and the position where that handle can occur. So you can get a reduction at any step using those handles. We have given some more formal definitions of handles. And then via the pruning process of these handles, we go from the leaf nodes towards the start node. We have already seen reduction process for one type of terminal string. Please note that what we are essentially doing here is traversing the right sentential form in reverse when you are doing the reduction process. We have already explained that in our earlier lecture. So this is an example of what I am trying to mean. Then we have seen that stack is a convenient way to implement such a shift reduced parser. We have already seen an example of such a reduction, but we haven't really gone into the details of the reason why we are using the stack. We will be coming back to this. We have also seen a very important concept known as viable prefix. We have seen that when we are pushing those symbols onto the stack always contains a viable prefix which can be reduced. So you don't need to go beyond that viable prefix to look for a reduction. So the stack always contains prefix which can be reduced. It will never happen if your sentence is parsable, it can be parsed, it is syntactically correct, then the stack will always hold the prefix which can be reduced towards the start symbol. All right. So that means if at any point of time, if you see that on the stack there is something which is not a viable prefix, you can immediately throw an error, because you know that by further parsing the sentence, you will not be able to reach the start symbol anytime at all, because there is some syntactic error in the given string. Okay, so this is one very big power of the bottom-up parser, is that as soon as the error occurs, it catches, because it will no longer be a viable prefix. We'll come to the details of viable prefix also in a later class. Then we have seen that we are going to talk about some special type of shift reduced bottom-up parser known as LR parser. We have explained the meaning of what L and what R and what K means. And there are some advantages and disadvantages we'll be talking about later. Now today we are going to start from our earlier discussion, which was basically what is an LR0 item. Note the zero thing, that we are not using any look ahead symbol, versus LRK when we will be using k look ahead symbols in our grammar. Okay, so an LR0 item, or item for short, is something we'll be concentrating. Now, we have already seen how to create such an item. As you can see, if you have a rule A producing XYZ, then dot at the very beginning will tell you that this is an item, and you can shift the dot. As you can see, A producing X dot YZ is another item. Now, what is the relationship between the first item and the second item? That we will explore today. So this is an item, this is also another item. How do we move from one item to another? This is what is at the heart of constructing the DFA of our context-free grammar. Please note that our context-free grammar consists of PDAs, which are nothing but DFA plus stack. Okay, so this item concept helps us to build the DFA. And we'll be using the stack later on to complete the parsing process. As you can see, it can have only, this particular grammatical rule can have only 4 items. As you can see, A producing dot XYZ, A producing X dot YZ, A producing XY dot Z, and A producing XYZ dot. If you have an A producing epsilon kind of rule, that item is A producing dot. Please note these conventions. Now, we need to define 2 functions known as closure and goto. So goto, I think all of you can understand pretty well. Like, for example, you can say if you have an item A producing A producing dot XYZ, then goto X means you are shifting on an X. It will take you to the item A producing X dot YZ. So goto is easy. So this is what it is. Goto, if I say, suppose A dot XYZ is in a state, we call it say S1, and if we do X, then it will take us to a state S2, which has the item A producing X dot YZ, because we are traversing on X. We are trying to consume on X. Am I clear here? So goto is easy. So let us see the goto function. I'll come to the closure function a little later. Goto IX, I is a set of items. So we generally don't talk about a single item, but a set of items. The reason will be clear when we talk about the closure operation. And X is a grammar symbol. Then goto IX will take us to, so if in I, we have a rule A producing alpha dot X beta. So if alpha dot X beta is in I, then goto IX should contain A producing alpha X dot beta, because we are shifting on the X symbol. So intuitively, if I is the set of items that are valid for some viable prefix gamma, then goto IX is the set of items that are valid for the viable prefix gamma X. Okay, so you add X and still it is a viable prefix. Okay, now let us go to the closure operation. The closure operation is a little difficult to understand. So, yes. Yes. হ্যাঁ, 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 বলে দিচ্ছি। ঠিক আছে, বলে দিচ্ছি। আচ্ছা, এটা হচ্ছে দেখো, তোমার একটা স্ট্যাকে, আমি একটা স্ট্যাকটা আঁকি। I am drawing a stack. So in the stack, so in the stack, you have already put, say, gamma. And as I said, anything which appears on the stack suppose gamma is a viable prefix. Okay. So I am assuming gamma is a viable prefix. Now, this gamma belongs to a set called I. Whatever it is, I'll come to the definition of I. So gamma belongs to a set I. Now, I put X here and I claim that gamma X is also valid. That will be valid if I say go to I comma X is, say, I prime. Okay. So basically what it means that you have a set I and then you can shift on X, you can move on X symbol and you can go to a next set which is known as I prime. That means you have gamma which is I and gamma X is basically I prime. Okay, that's what it is. It will be clearer as we go forward when we really do an actual example. Now, the other thing which is important to explain is the closure operation. So go to we have understood to some extent. Of course, it will be immediately clear when we talk about something. So suppose I have a rule like this, set of rule like this. What are the set of rules? A producing B, C, and B producing B, small b. Then I define, say, I0. I0, I say this is like this. This will consist of, I'm sorry, yes. So this is an item. This is an item, right? Because I have a dot in front of B as per our definition. Now, you can say that in set I0, I can have this item A producing dot BC. This is your assumption. But the moment you keep dot BC there, via the closure operation, you should have this as well. Okay, so whatever non-terminals, so dot appears in front of whatever non-terminals will have their production rules. And since you can see the dot is before capital B, so you should include the item for capital B as well. What is the item for capital B? Initial item is B producing dot B. Am I clear? So first one is because I inserted A producing dot BC in I0. The second item B producing dot B is because of the closure operation. So this is the definition of the closure operation. And what is the go to operation? Very easy. So suppose I create another set I1. Okay, and I say that from I0 to I1, I'll be using the operation go to I0, comma B. Why can I use this? Because I can see that there is a B in I0 which has a dot in front of it. So that means I can push the dot after capital B, and that is what we mean by the go to. So in I0, I am using go to I0B. So I go to I1, and in I1, I can say that I have the item A producing B dot C. That means the difference between I0 and I1 is that I1 has already seen capital B, and I0 is yet to see capital B. That's the implication. Okay. Now, if I have a rule like this, C producing, say, B, small d, in that case, this will be also there. Because now the dot is in front of capital C, and there is a rule called, which is capital C producing small d. So capital C should produce dot D. This is another item in I1 via the closure operation. So A producing capital B dot C is because of go to operation from I0, and capital C producing dot D is because of the closure operation on capital C. Okay. These are the two operations which we are going to use to create the DFA for the corresponding PDA. Okay. That's what I wanted to mean. So basically we have two operations. One is go to. Go to IX is defined to be the closure of the set of all items A producing alpha x dot beta such that A producing alpha dot x beta is in I. So I has an item A producing alpha dot x beta, and go to IX will have the item A producing alpha x dot beta. And of course, you will be having the closure operation on beta as well. Now, what is the definition of the closure operation? As you can see here, there are two rules. Initially, every item in I is added to closure I. So if you have a rule, like for example, in this particular case, we have the rule A producing BC. So A producing dot BC is in I0. That is the initial one. So that is the closure also. And then if A producing alpha dot B beta is in closure I, and B producing gamma is a production, then B producing dot gamma is also in closure I. Okay. And this continues, like now B producing gamma, so you should continue to create items for gamma as well. So if gamma producing something, you should add that also in closure I. Okay. So these are the two operations we are going to use, and of course we are going to look at the grammar we are talking about. And please note this particular thing, that we will be using a new start symbol S prime producing S. So we'll augment our grammar. So we have a grammar which is E producing E plus T or T, T producing T star F or F, and A producing parenthesis E or ID. So we added the new start symbol E prime and added a new production rule E prime producing E. The, uh, the justification will be clear as we go forward. It is basically to distinguishing, it is basically to distinguish the accepting state from the starting state. That's the only thing. Okay. So what is in, so let us do all the examples here. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll share the whiteboard. Just a second. Okay, so what we will do is we will do the complete exercise. Please be careful about the exercise because you will get a very similar one of carrying 12 of a question carrying 12 marks in your SEM and maybe in the internal also. So you should practice it quite regularly. So what is the starting point? The starting point is this guy. Okay, this is the set of starting rules. So what we will do is we'll create the first item set of items, which is I0. This is I0. And what are the set of items? E prime producing dot E. And then we have to use the closure operation on E. So E prime producing dot E is the starting item. Then of course we will have this because of the closure operation on the terminals, non-terminal symbol E. And then you can see there is a dot in front of T. So we should do the closure operation on the non-terminal T as well. Dot T star F and T producing dot F. And since there is a closure operation in front of, there is a dot in front of F, we should do the closure for F as well, which should be F producing this and F producing. This is the set of items for I0. Okay, so this is our starting state. I am reducing the font because we need to complete the whole thing. There would be at least 14 states. So this is the first operation. Now, what is the second operation? You can see that there is a dot in front of E in one of the item of I0. So we can do a go to I0 comma E. For brevity, I am writing I0 comma E. So this is I0 comma E. That means go to I0 comma E. And let's say this new state is I1. This new set is I1. I am not sorry, it should not be state, but it should be set for the timing. We'll see that this is actually translating into DFS states. So this is I1. Now what should I have here? E prime producing E dot. I hope you can see the dot after E. Let's make it bigger for the timing. So I think you can see the dot after E now, because now from I0 we are at I1. So I0 had an item E prime producing dot E. So I1 would be having an item E prime producing E dot, because we are in I0 comma E set. Okay. What is the other one? You can see there is a dot in front of E plus T, that item. So we should have E dot plus T. The dot has moved after E. There is no other place we have a dot in front of E, so we cannot proceed further. So these are the two items in I1. Note that we cannot close anything here because the dot is after E and there is a dot in front of plus. Of course, that has no closure operation because plus is a terminal. Okay, so this is I1. Similarly, from I0, we can go to the next one, which is I0 comma T. I0 comma T. That is I2. So we call it as I2. Okay. So here we have E producing T dot. That is the third item. You can see E producing dot T. So in I2, we should have E producing T dot. Then we have a rule T producing dot T star F. So this item should be also there. T dot star F. Is there any other place we have a dot in front? No. Can we close on this? No. So this is what we have in I2. Okay. So now let us go to I0 comma F. because we have a rule T producing dot F. So we can do I0 comma F. This is I0 comma F. And this is state number I3. So this is I3. In I3, we are doing I0 comma F. So I3 should be having T producing F dot as an item. Is there any other one? I can't see anything else. So that's it. So only one item. Okay. So let us do I0 comma ID. I0 comma ID. So this is I0 comma ID. Let's call it as I4. And it will have only one item, F producing ID dot. Okay. So we have missed only one, which is go to I0 comma epsilon. I0 comma open parenthesis. You can see that item is F producing dot open parenthesis E close parenthesis. So we can of course go to on I0 with the symbol open parenthesis, and that will have a little bit more work for us. So this is I0 comma open parenthesis. So let's call it as I5. Okay. So what is in I5? Of course, we should have this rule, F producing open parenthesis dot E close parenthesis. Now, can you tell me, is that all we have, or do we have to do something more? Is I5 all this, or should we have more? Can you conclude from the discussions we have till now? Yes. F producing open parenthesis dot E. Anything else? Now note that there is a dot in front of E. So we have to close on E. This is important. Till now, we haven't seen any dot in front of any of the non-terminals in I1, I2, I3, and I4. But in I5, we have that. So we need to do the closure. So closure means T producing dot E plus T should be there. T producing dot T should be there. T producing dot P star F should be there. T producing dot F should be there. F producing dot this should be there. F producing dot ID should be there. So these are the set of items in I5. Is this thing clear? I want a response. Otherwise, I'm not sure uh, whether I'm saying the right thing or not. You should be saying something. Hello, is it fine? Let me see. Can you hear me all right? Yes, Devdeep, could you hear me? What I'm saying? Is this thing clear? Any of you? I'm not even sure you are listening to it. Yes. Anybody? I'm not sure whether you are listening. Anyway, I have to continue. Okay. Anyway, I'm not sure anybody is listening. So I think we are done with I0. So let's focus on I1. I1, the items are, as you can see, I1, the items are E producing, E prime producing E dot, and E prime producing E dot plus T. Okay. So of course, we can do a go to on plus. So we'll do go to on plus. So go to I1 on plus. So what do we have? This is going to be our I6. So in I6, we should have E producing E plus dot T, and then we have closure on T. So T producing dot T star F, T producing dot F producing dot open parenthesis E, and F producing dot ID. These are the different items in I6, which is go to I1 comma plus. Okay. This is I6. Nothing else to do with I1. For I2, yes, we can do something. I2, there are two items, E producing T dot and T producing T dot star F. So we can have a go to on star. So this is I2 comma star. And we'll get the state I7. So in I7, we have E producing E star dot F producing dot open parenthesis E close parenthesis, and F producing dot ID. So this is our I7. Nothing else for I2. So I3, the dot is at the end, nothing doing. I4, the dot is at the end of the item, so nothing doing. So we are done till state 4. Now let's do for state 5. So here we have A producing open parenthesis dot E close parenthesis, that is the first one. So we can do A go to on E. So that's what we'll do. Go to I5 comma E. So this is I5 comma E. So here we have In I5 comma E, we will be having the state I8. So I8 will have F producing open parenthesis E dot close parenthesis as an item. And of course, the other item would be E producing E plus E dot plus T. Both are basically go to I5 comma E. And there is nothing else. So I8 is this much. Okay. On I5, we can do a go to on T as well, because there is an item E producing dot T. So you can do E producing T dot in I9. And there is a rule called T producing dot T star F. So we should have the item T producing T dot star F in I9 as well. Nothing else. So let's do that. So this is I5 comma T. So I5 comma T, we can have I9, which is E producing T dot and T producing T dot star F. These are the only two items in this set. So this is our I9. What else can we do with I5? We can have I5 comma F. So I5 comma F is, because the item is T producing dot F, so we'll have the item T producing F dot. And that's it. So we can see that I5 comma F is nothing but I3. This is I5 comma F. So we are not going to a new state, but going to an older state, which is T producing F dot. Okay. Then F producing dot open parenthesis E. Close parenthesis is an item. So we should be having go to I5 comma open parenthesis. So I5 comma open parenthesis, the item is F producing open parenthesis dot E and the closure of that. So this is nothing but I5 itself. So I5 will be looping in its own state for open parenthesis. So this is basically I5 comma open parenthesis. And for I5 comma ID, it will go to I4. So this state is visited. This is nothing but I5 comma ID. So we are done with I5. Let's go to I6, which is at the top. So in I6, we can see that the first item is E producing E plus dot T. So of course, we can do a go to on I6 comma T, and the item will be, first item will be, okay, let's do this first. So this is I6 comma T, I6 comma T. So in this state number 10, sorry, set number 10, we'll have E producing E plus T dot. That is one item. Now we can see there is another item T producing dot T star F. So that is also should be there. T dot star F. Nothing else, no other closure. So I10 is defined. This is going to be your I10. This is I6 comma T. So similarly, we will have I6 comma F, which is T producing F dot, and that is nothing but I3. So we can say I6 comma F is nothing but I3. Is I3. We are not showing it here, so it will be connected to I3. Similarly, for the item A producing dot E, dot open parenthesis E, it should be I5 again. So this will go to here. So this is I6 comma open parenthesis, and I6 comma ID is going to take us to I4. This is I6 comma ID. That's it. So we have handled I6. So I6 comma ID is I4, because that takes us to F producing ID dot item, which is there in I4. So I6 is handled. Now let us talk about I7. So I7 has an item T producing T star dot F. So of course it can go to F, and that's what we'll be doing. So this is I7 comma F, and this will be I11, a new state, which has the item T producing P star F dot. Dot is at the end. There is no other rule which can be there. So this is going to be our I11. Okay. Now I7 comma open parenthesis, you can understand it will take us to I5. So this is for open parenthesis. And for ID, it will take you to I4. This is on ID. So we have handled I7 as well. Let's look at I8. I8, there is a dot in front of closing parenthesis. So we can create a new state, which is I12. This is I12. I12 has F producing open parenthesis E close parenthesis dot. This is the only item. That's it. So this is our I12. And on I8, we have a E producing E plus E dot plus T. So we can go to on plus. So we can have another state I13, which is this guy right here. So this is on I8 comma plus. So on I8 comma plus, you go to I13, and on I13 you get these things: E producing E plus dot T. and you have to do closure on T. E plus dot T. So that is, I think that is nothing but I6. So yes, this is not a new state. So you can say this is I6. E plus dot T. Yes. So it is I6, nothing but I6. So I8 is handled. Let us look into I9. I9, so we have E producing T dot. So nothing can be done on that. T producing T dot star F. So we can go to star. So go to I9 comma star. So that means it will be T producing T star dot F and the closure on that. So that is basically I7. So if we want to do this, so we'll have I9 comma star is nothing but our I7. So this is I7. Okay. So number of states are reducing. It's not expanding anymore. So I9 is done. Let us go to I10. I10, E producing E plus T dot. There is nothing you can do there. And T producing T dot star F. So you can have the go to on star. So I10 go to on star, and you can understand readily. So I10 comma star is going to take you to, so T producing T star dot F or something like that. T star dot F. So that is nothing but I7. We can. Huh. Okay, so we were at I9. I9 comma star is nothing but I7. Okay, so I9 is handled. Let us look into I10. Oh, sorry, I10. I10 is done. I11 is also done. I12 is done. So there is no more states we can traverse. So that means in this particular uh, grammar, if we construct the set of items using the go to and closer, we get actually I0 through I12. Okay. Is there anything I have made mistake? I think I have given one state too many. I7, I8, I9, I10. Something I have given too many. Let me see. I0, I1. I1 is fine. Let me double check with my notes. So I0 is fine. I1 is fine. I2 is fine. I3 is fine. I4 is also fine. So, oh, I4, what happened? I0, I1, I2, I3. Okay, I5 is fine. This is fine. Okay, then this guy, why is it saying 12? Pressing T dot. Oh, I'm sorry. I9 should not be a new state. So that is what is causing this problem. If you look at I5 comma T, this produces E producing T dot and T producing T dot star F. That is nothing but I2. So I have made a mistake here. So this state should not be there. So that's why one extra state was coming. So this I9 should not be there. Instead, this should be I2. So that means I should mark I10 as I9 and I11 as I10 and I12 as I11. So these are the states in our DFA. To compare it with the book, it's the same. The numbering may be different because it depends on the order we have handled the terminal symbols and non-terminal symbols. So this is our DFA. So from I0, if we have E, we go to I1. If we have T, we go to I2. If we have open parenthesis, we go to I5. If we have F, we go to I3. If we have ID, we go to I4. Then from I1, if we have a plus, we go to I6. That's all. From I2, if we have a star, we go to I7. That's all. I3 and I4, you cannot do any go to because the dots are at the end. Then from I5, you can use E to go to I8. You can use T to go to I2 back again. With open parenthesis, you come back to I5. With F, you go to I3. With ID, you go to I4. For I6, with with T, you go to I9. With F, you go to I3. With open parenthesis, you go to I5. And with ID, you go to I4. So I6 is done. For I7, with F, you go to I10. With open parenthesis, you go to I5. With ID, you go to I4. That's all. I8 with plus, you go to I6, and with close parenthesis, you go to I11. For I9 with star, you go to I7. Okay, and for I10, nothing doing because that is the final state. And for I11, that is also the final state. So nothing doing. So this is the final DFA of the required PDA. So this gives us the different sets which contains the different set of items using the go to and closure procedures. So that means if you consider each of these set as a state in the DFA, you can readily understand that each of these states are actually recognizing a particular, you can reach there after traversing a sequence of terminal and non-terminal symbols. Okay, so for example, if you start from I0, if you get non-terminal E followed by a plus and followed by a T and followed by a star, you reach I7. So this is nothing but a DFA for this required PDA, the finite automata part. Of course, we will augment it with the stack to make it a full-fledged PDA. So these state traversals will give us a clue to handle the various shift and reduced operations. The shift operation is easy. Like for example, if you are in a state and you get a non-terminal symbol or a terminal symbol which can get you to a new state, that means this will be the result of the shift action. It is whether it is a non-terminal or terminal doesn't really matter. Please note that in case of bottom-up parsers, we can shift both on non-terminal as well as on terminal symbols, which is not possible in top-down parsers. There we can only shift with terminal symbols. Also, for those states where we cannot really go to another state, that means we have seen the end of a viable prefix. So our action would be to reduce that viable prefix, the right-hand side of the production rule, using the left-hand side. So that means in those states, we are going to call for the reduction. Now, when this reduction should be applied and when not, that will depend on if you use a lookahead symbol, that will depend on the lookahead symbol. Unfortunately or fortunately for LR0 grammars, we don't look at the lookahead symbol at all, but we'll consider a special class of LR0 parsers which are known as SLR1 parsers, where we'll be reducing only on certain conditions. So that's about it for the go-to diagrams and closure diagrams. Next day, the next class will be devoting entirely on constructing the LR parsing table, and we'll see that there is some significant difference from the LL1 parsing table. In particular, instead of using the non-terminals on the row header, we'll be using states, and the column heads will have terminal symbols, but also non-terminal symbols as well, which is not possible in case of top-down parsers or LL1 parsers. That's about it for today.